Hi, here I have the TYT UVF1 and I wanted to show you today all the menu features and what it can do. So I'll turn it on.
Power on.
Okay, here you can see my channels. Just got some channels set up here.
6, 5, 4, 3, 4.
And you just move through them by pressing up and down here. You've got the menu button and the U/V button. The menu and U/V buttons, when you're going through the menus, they kind of work as the enter for the menu and the exit button for the U/V. So if I go into the menu and I press that, it kind of exits the menu, it escapes the menu. But if I'm on here, pressing that switches to the top channel, pressing it again switches to the bottom. If I hold it, it goes on to frequency mode. If I hold it again, it goes back to channel mode. And now I'm going to go through the menus and show you what this can do, this radio. So the first option is scan. Everyone knows what scan does. You hit scan and it scans through your channels. Let me turn that down. There is one problem with this though. It's that the channel moves when you're scanning. The channel number moves, but the name does not change. So if you have it on the names, to show the names, it doesn't change. If you're scanning through frequencies, then it does. So if I go up here, let me go up to these frequencies. If I hit scan on there, the frequencies do change, and it continues scanning through other channels that I've set with names, but it still shows the frequencies of them. So see, this one actually is that, but yeah. Okay, let me, you can also enter in channels directly on the keypad. So the next thing is TX select. What that does is basically it selects which channel you're going to transmit on. So you've got your two channels here, these two. TX select, if you put it on edit, then it transmits on the channel that you have selected. So there, channel 5 is selected because the arrow's down, and there, that top channel is selected because the arrow's up. See? But you can set it to busy, and then it will switch transmit to whichever channel is transmitted on. So if I start up this radio to show you, if I transmit here, oh sorry, I have to turn on the where's it gone? Okay. Where's it? There. Dual weight is on. So see that? This is on channel 5. That's bottom one is channel 5, and the one I've selected is channel 1. But because I've set it to, hold on, because I've set transmit select to busy, then it transmits on the channel that's busy. So I'd key this one up. This is receiving that on channel 5, and if I key up, it talks back to this radio here. It doesn't talk on channel 1. Okay, so the next thing is Vox. You can set the sensitivity of the Vox. 8 is the highest and 1 is the lowest, so it just goes through that. The next one is power, low or high. Low is about 1 watt, and high is 5 watts on VHF or 4 watts on UHF. Then you've got squelch. You've got from 0 up to 9. 0 is off. So if I, oh, don't know why you can't hear that.
Escape 2.
There we go. Okay, So 0 is off, 1's the lowest, 1 opens easiest, so I just leave it on 1 the most of the time. So scrambler. The scrambler number you can change from 1 to 8, and the number is basically, it changes the inversion point of the scrambling. It's just simple scrambling where it changes it around 1 point, and it can be decoded quite easily, but it's kind of useful just for fun. So LED, that's the backlight. It doesn't have a light on the top. You can leave it, tell it to set it on. You can set it to off so it never comes on, or you can set it up to auto so that it comes on when you press a button. Then you can, let me just exit that. Okay. The display color, that's quite self-explanatory. Purple, blue, orange, those are the options. Beep is the keypad beep. If I turn that off, it doesn't beep anymore. If I turn it back on, it beeps whenever I press a button. ANI is the, like it said, ID code. This option here doesn't actually work. If you want to have it on or off, you have to set it in the programming software, but that's pretty easy to do. But I don't know why they have this option, because it doesn't seem to work. Then you've got dual weight, which if you set it off, then it only watches the channel that you're on, so it only watches channel 2. So if I start this radio up again here on channel 5, if I key up, it won't hear it because the only channel 2 is selected. If I switch back to 5, then it will hear it, see the signal. On 2, nothing. If we turn it on, I'm on 2, it still picks up transmissions on 5. So there's that. And you've got APRO. I'm not sure what that's meant to stand for, but it's basically the option. You've got Scrambler or Compander. I'll show you the Compander. So that's on. I'll go on channel 5. When another radio talks, it makes the audio, basically it makes the louds louder and the quiet stuff quieter, basically. So any hiss will kind of go. Let me just show you. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2. Okay. And if I turn it off, oh well, it was off. Hold on. You'll hear the difference now when I turn it on then.
Escape.
1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2. Okay, so there's no hiss at all.
Menu set. Enter.
If I turn it back off,
Enter. Escape.
1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3. You have the normal sort of little bit of hiss. Not really proper hiss, but you know what I mean. The Compander kind of filters that out, but if there's a lot of noise, then it doesn't really help at all, because it just makes the signal harder to understand. And the effect the Compander has on transmitting is that it makes the audio a little bit quieter, actually. So that's not really much use.
Menu set.
So I don't normally use that. So let's show you the Scrambler now.
Escape.
If I transmit on this radio and listen to it on here. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, there we go. And if I talk on this one, when this has the Scrambler on, it will also sound weird on here. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. That's it. Test 1 2 3. So there we go. You have to have another radio with the same Scrambler options set to be able to understand them. So, okay, let's go and look at the next feature. TOT, that's the timer, I think they call it in the manual.
Enter 60.
you can set it
For box.
off 30, 60.
90, 1, 100, and 1, 2, 2, 2, off.
So all those different options.
Escape.
And it just stops the radio from transmitting if you accidentally sit on the button or something for a whole minute.
Busy lock.
Busy lock. You've got call,
Enter.
wave, and off. Call is when a radio is transmitting on the same channel with the same DCS or CTCSS tone. Wave is just
Enter.
any time that anyone's transmitting on the channel, even if they have a different CTCSS. I wouldn't recommend using wave because even if there's interference on the channel, like just some electrical noise, it'll still stop you from transmitting. So it's best to have it on call or off.
Escape. Escape.
And let me just show you that. I'll show you what it does. If I key up on here, so that's receiving that. If I try to key up, it goes BCLO, which stands for busy key, probably lock out, probably, I'm not sure.
Busy lock.
Okay.
Set mode.
Let me just turn the scrambler off.
Enter. Escape. Escape.
Okay.
Men set. Busy box.
The next one is Vox. We set the sensitivity of it
Enter,
before,
off.
and then you've just got on or off. So
Enter.
if we
Escape.
set that to on,
Escape.
there we go, it's transmitting. If I tap the mic there, it starts transmitting. See, any loud enough noises will make it start transmitting. So let me turn that back off.
Enter. Escape. Transmit.
You've got Roger, the
Enter,
Roger
on.
tone.
Enter. Escape. Escape.
So if I key up, that's the noise it makes. And I'll show you on here as well. If I turn this volume down, one, two, one, two, one, two. So there we go, that's a Roger. That's quite annoying though, so I leave that off.
FM set.
This one is dual watch, but it's not the same as the other dual watch that watches both of these channels. That one, basically, if you open up the FM radio on here,
Menu.
which you go menu and then you press that monitor button there,
FM.
So this is not just the gig of the
there we
summer.
go, that's the
You can
FM
spend
radio.
the whole day in the pub.
I'll turn that down a bit. Whenever it picks up a transmission on one of the other channels, it'll switch to it if DW dual watch is on, so it'll switch to that, channel 5, or if I transmit on channel 2, it'll also switch to that if I have the other dual watch on, the other dual watch option. So there we go, transmit again, and it switches to that, and then it switches back after a while, like so. So I'll just turn that off again by going into menu and pressing monitor there.
Menu FM.
If you turn that off, then if you go into FM radio and someone tries to talk on the channel you're on, you won't hear it at all. Okay, the next one is RX
Enter. On.
SAV, which is
On.
just power saving on the radio, so I leave that on. It can cause a very slight delay when someone keys up, but it's, for me at least, it's more important to save battery life. Then you have scan mode, you have carrier,
Enter.
time, or seek.
Escape.
Those are the usual 3 options that you can set on these kind of Chinese radios.
Lock.
You've got key lock, auto lock, which you can turn on, and it locks it after a set period of time. I'm not sure of the period
Escape.
that it takes, but it will be a set period and it will just lock the radio for you, which is the same as locking it yourself manually by holding the lock button there,
Lock.
and that stops you from pressing any buttons here.
Lock.
You can still call, you can still open the squelch, and you can still key up normally. that doesn't affect them, but it just stops you from changing the channel or anything like that. So then you have
Unlock. Scan. Scan.
where were we?
Voice. Key lock. Set.
Oh,
Key lock.
there we go. Voice, on or off. That's just the voice prompts that sometimes explain things a bit better
Escape.
than the label save given the menu items. Then we've got option set for
Enter.
power on. You can set it to show the battery voltage. You can set it to show off, which the display, let me show you that.
Escape.
You turn it off, you turn it back on,
Power.
it just
on.
comes on a bit quicker.
Menu. Scan. Enter.
Oops,
Escape.
hold on,
Menu. With.
where were we?
Name. Voltage. Voice.
Okay,
Enter.
you can set it to message, which is the message that you set
Enter.
in a few options up, or you can set it to DC.
Enter.
But DC is most useful, so you can see how much battery's left. Voltage, you can't do anything here, it just shows you the voltage of the battery. If I try doing anything, it doesn't work. So it just shows you the voltage of the battery.
Display.
Power on message, that's what my power on message is.
Display. Name.
Display name
Enter. On.
displays the names of all the channels, so you can set that off
Enter. Escape.
and it will show the frequencies instead.
Menu.
Or you can set it on
Enter. Escape.
and it will show the channel names that you've given instead.
Menu. Display. Channel. Name.
Channel name, you can edit the channel name. It's a bit difficult to edit because it goes through each character and then you have to go through all of the stuff. You can't do like some radios, you can press 1 and it will go through A, B, C and stuff like that. You have to go through all of the characters in the alphabet and all the numbers and all the special characters.
Menu.
So,
Channel. Name. Enter.
and then to go sideways you hit them, and to go back you hit that one.
Escape. Code.
Code is the DCS or CTCSS for the channel, so you just go up and down there. You can switch off CTCSS like that and DCS, and when you're on DCS, if you hit the hash key it'll switch to inverted. See there, it goes to I from normal to inverted.
Escape.
You can set the receive tone and the transmit tone separately, and then you've got the shift. If you're in frequency mode like this,
Shift. Up.
you can put the shift on,
Off.
off,
Plus.
plus or minus. So off, plus or minus.
Minus.
And that is, you set it to the receive frequency or the transmitting frequency of the repeater, the frequency that the repeater is transmitting on, and the other frequency that it changes to with the shift is the repeater's input frequency.
Menu.
Okay,
Up.
and then you have the step, which you can set 5, 6.25, 10, 12.5, 25, 37.5, 50 and 100.
Escape.
6.25 by the way you need if you want to use a radio on PMR 446. That's essential.
Bandwidth.
Bandwidth,
Enter.
wide and narrow, very simple.
Scan.
Scan CTCSS. That goes through the CTCSS. It looks quite fast, but if you key up another radio, it slows down a lot. Look. So it's quite slow. And it has DCS separately.
Scan.
So you have to know if the person's on CTCSS or DCS. So if I switch to DCS until it's scan, I'll just let it get close to the actual DCS so it doesn't take ages. Okay, there we go, it's found it. It wouldn't have found it so quickly if I didn't key up right at the right time that it got to that DCS, but it does stay with that DCS flashing so that you can have a look, and then you can go back and program that in if you wanted to. So let's just exit that, and then we're back to the beginning, so that we're back to the first option. I'll just switch that back to channel mode, and there we go. That was an overview of all the menu functions in the TYT UVF1, and thank you for watching.